All right, everyone, there's a few brand new Switch stories that we got to talk about today, starting with LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga getting a 6-minute overview trailer that quite honestly has me more hyped for this title's release than ever. Then we also have to cover a surprise system firmware upgrade that went live on the Nintendo Switch late last night, and I want to highlight any and all changes that were made as part of this update, and also have a discussion around what I hope to see Nintendo do with future system upgrades. Then the big talking point for today's video is, while Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack continues to be a letdown in my humble opinion, they did at least fix one major issue plaguing many users when it comes to online play on the Nintendo Switch. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Sunbro Nation by subscribing below. Hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. Now, as I mentioned, guys, we're covering a few different stories today, and we got to kick it off with a 6-minute overview trailer and a release date confirmation for LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. And while historically I am not the biggest LEGO game player, like, I know they've had some great additions over the course of time, and I've picked up and played some of the Star Wars ones in the past, but I'm not historically like really drawn to the LEGO games just because of their more cartoony style. Like, it does look nice, but it's not something that's typically a day one purchase for me. And I will tell you all right now that I am picking up this game day one, as this is the complete Star Wars saga, and in my personal opinion, you could leave out 7, 8, and 9 altogether, because I am more of a fan of the prequels and the original films. But regardless, there's still some incredible moments that do happen in those movies, and you can play through the experience of all 9 movies in this game. And what really stuck out to me about this gameplay trailer that launched today is the various different types of gameplay, how fun and immersive they look, and how well they pulled it all off. And the graphical fidelity for a LEGO game definitely looks like a next level thing. Like, in my head, I was even worried at one point of how this game will run on the Switch, because it just quite honestly looks beautiful. And of course, you have, all of the different iconic parts from the movie series as a whole being highlighted in the game. It looks like you can freely swap around between different episodes in the saga. So if you want to play episode 1 for a while and complete some of those missions, you can. And then if you want to go back and play episode 4, it looks like you can do that. There's probably types of progression that gets unlocked along the way. It did highlight that there are some side missions as well as your main story missions, and I just loved all of it that was highlighted. Definitely looks like there will be a lot of intense lightsaber battles, which is probably what I will look forward to the most. But even the third-person shooting sections and the space battles are all there, and I just personally couldn't be more pumped for this game to release. And it is confirmed for an April 5th release at this point on the Nintendo Switch. This game has actually been delayed quite a few times over the course of time, but April 5th sounds close enough that I don't think we have to worry about any further delays at this point. It sounds like it'll be ready to go. It does launch on all platforms, so you can pick this up on Switch, or if you're somebody who owns a PS5, Series X, or whatever you have laying around, you can pick it up on those platforms as well. I will personally be planning on picking this up on the Switch, providing that it does run very well and smooth, because as I mentioned, it just looks like a beautiful game in my opinion. But providing it runs smooth on the Switch, I will pick it up there, so that way I have the option for portable play. But I want to hear from you guys in the comments down below what you thought about this trailer. If you haven't watched the whole thing, I will have it linked in the description in case you want to check out the entire 6-minute overview trailer with the audio and things in the description below. But share with me what your thoughts are around it, if you will be picking it up when it does launch on April 5th, and if you're a big fan of LEGO Star Wars games in the past and how you think this one compares to the previous one. So I do look forward to hearing from you guys on all things LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga in the comments down below. Now, the next story we're talking about today has to do with the brand new system firmware upgrade that went live on the Nintendo Switch late yesterday. And when I saw the notification pop up for a system upgrade, I just always get a little bit excited, just mainly due to the fact that Nintendo doesn't tell us anything and just likes to surprise drop features from time to time. Like most recently, years and years after the Switch has been on the market selling, they just decide to surprise enable Bluetooth headphone support that had been rumored for a long time, but I felt like everybody forgot about it and thought like it wouldn't happen. And then Nintendo's just like, hey, here you go, now you can use your Bluetooth headphones on your Switch console. And it was a great upgrade. Now, in today's update that we're going to cover, it is a much more minor behind the hood fixes type of thing, but I still think it's an interesting talking point for the fact that we do need to see Nintendo really address some of the core issues on how the Switch's home screen works, and how with all these massive game libraries they've created over the years on the Switch, how we need to have things like folders and themes. But before we hop through that discussion, discussion, I do want to quickly hop over to Oatmeal Dome's tweet, where he does have the exact explanation of what was fixed, or what was changed rather, in this new 13.2.1 firmware that was released yesterday. So let's quickly read through his tweet together. Nintendo Switch firmware update version 13.2.1 was just released. Official patch notes state stability as the only change. The YLWS 8-bot difference detector shows changes to the Bluetooth and SSL system components. In my view, this update probably just contains bug fixes. So while it simply just sounds like bug fixes and background stability improvements of surrounding SSL, which is like your security when you're online or connected to the internet, and then obviously some Bluetooth changes, I do hope that they at least maybe improve the Bluetooth system just a little bit, because I would love to hear from you guys. But when I sync up things like AirPods, it seems like it's a much weaker and short range connection compared to other devices that I use AirPods on, and it also tends to not auto connect that easy. Like I have to sometimes disconnect and reconnect multiple times. I've also had where like the audio has lagged behind the headset. Like if I'm playing on the Switch itself through the speakers, it sounds quick and responsive, and if I have it through a Bluetooth headset like the AirPods, then it tends to like be just a millisecond or two off. I mean, just you can kind of notice it that it's a little bit of a delay in the audio, which of course does happen with Bluetooth tech, but I feel like there's definitely better versions of Bluetooth on devices that you don't notice that kind of stuff. So hopefully there's minor bug fixes like that, but I do want to pivot the conversation to kind of just share my own 2 cents on what I hope we see Nintendo do, relatively soon, as we talk about the 5th year of the Switch being on the market coming up this year in March. I mean, we're right around the corner from 5 full years of the Nintendo Switch. There's been obviously a massive library of games that have been added to this console over the course of time, and in my opinion, it's pretty ridiculous that there's no folders whatsoever. Like, I would love to group together maybe all the Mario games that I own, maybe all the Zelda games, like everything that's on the console. It would be very nice to have grouped folders so you don't have to just scroll through your software list, especially if you're somebody who is more of a digital collector as opposed to physical. If you buy your games digital, I'm sure it's a mess to go find an old game that you want to boot up that you played from quite a while back. There's also some very easy changes that they can add in, just such as themes. Like, I would love for whenever Breath of the Wild 2 launches to get some kind of custom Breath of the Wild 2 Switch home screen that reflects Breath of the Wild 2. Like, it's something they could even charge money for if they wanted to. I mean, on the rival platforms like PlayStation, sometimes premium themes get released around other games releases, and I'll pay 99 cents or $1.99 from time to time if I think it's a really cool thing, and it just makes the console feel fresh for what has otherwise, become a pretty stale home screen and just a basic layout. It's time to do something with this Switch UI, and I definitely hope that they do it soon. That said, I'm not very confident, as you can still go under the theme section in the Nintendo Switch, and it's pretty hilarious that in 2022 we still just have white and black as the 2 options for the only themes on the platform. So it's like they built out that themes portion in the settings for a reason, and they've done nothing with it. But in true Nintendo fashion, we will probably see the Switch get very close to the end of its life cycle, and they will then enable premium themes, and they'll enable folders and things that we've been asking for years. But I do want to hear from you guys, what your overall experience has been with Bluetooth tech so far, if you've noticed any changes since this system update, and then also share with me what you hope we see Nintendo do in the near future when it comes to Nintendo Switch firmware upgrades. So I do look forward to hearing from you on all things Nintendo Switch system firmware in the comments down below. Now, the last story we're talking about today has to do with a major fix that Nintendo has put out for Nintendo Switch Online. And if you've been around on the channel for a while, you will know that I've been relatively negative towards Nintendo on their overall direction with this Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack, just for the argument that, of course, they are now charging $50 annually. There's no monthly tier option to test out the service, and we have no clear roadmap on how frequently they will provide updates to things like N64 games, Sega Genesis games, and all of that. So my stance on that if you've seen previous videos. I definitely feel like they need to do a lot to the service to truly make it worth it. But one common complaint that we've seen over the years, really since the Switch launched, is that in comparison to any other console, when you talk about online play, the Switch is notorious for laggy connections, and that even goes for people who have great internet, or maybe their internet just isn't the absolute like a gig plus download speed, but they have a solid internet connection and they still still have nothing but a laggy experience when playing games like Super Smash Bros. For whatever reason, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe probably works better for me than any other game, but that one does have lag from time to time, and I've definitely noticed it on things like the N64 online play, that whenever you are going through certain games, you will get those micro pauses, because that's essentially the technology that Nintendo uses to keep you in sync with other players. So, you know, in a game like Smash Bros, where quick precision button presses are what is required to win, especially if you're playing competitively, it is very frustrating when you're playing online and you have those micro pauses hit and you don't know if you got your attack off in time or not, and it definitely can cause deaths and a lot of frustration. And that goes for really mostly all Nintendo Switch games that have come out over the course of the years. Now, the reason this is in the news today is because when Monster Hunter Rise was originally released, we saw Nintendo shift away from their traditional NEX service, which is what it was called to run their online infrastructure, to what is called NPLN, which provided for Monster Hunter Rise players on all accounts. And again, I haven't personally gotten into that game myself yet. I do own it and I will boot it up once I get the time. But, you know, apparently the online play is significantly better, like noticeably better across the board for players in that game. And a big discussion started to happen. Well, will Nintendo do this for games going forward, or was that like it's technically in a beta test right now as far as that NPLN technology? So maybe that's just a one-off for Monster Hunter Rise and it doesn't hit all the other major Nintendo Switch games. Well, the reason we can now confirm that we are going to get better online experiences going forward is, of course, Pokemon Legends Arceus did indeed leak online, and with that you have data miners doing all of the stuff that data miners do, which is look for all the changes in the tech and the infrastructure of how the game runs. And it has been confirmed that this NPLN technology is what is being used for Legends Arceus when it comes to things like online play. So I do want to quickly hop back over to Oatmeal Dome on Twitter, where he does have the exact information and just the good news confirmation that this is most likely what we will see going forward for Nintendo Switch online play. So let's quickly read through his tweet together. The old server type NEX was first introduced 10 years ago on the Wii U and 3DS. The introduction of NPLN could bring additional stability to those who have poor internet connections and failing NAT types. For more information, see the following tweet. Great news for NSO. Pokemon Legends Arceus uses NPLN, Nintendo's new all-around improved online networking library. Still in beta but used in Switch version of Monster Hunter Rise already, it brings proper stable connectivity, including on mobile networks. He then continues on the thread, TLDR, new Nintendo and select third-party games, the list already includes Legends Arceus, will have much better online. It's faster, smoother, more secure, and works everywhere. Nintendo already caught up to their competition, and NPLN is still in active development. So again, while we do give flack to Nintendo for them being so far behind compared to the competition when it comes to their online infrastructure, with the lack of things like party chat and just, you know, direct friend invites from usernames as opposed to having to memorize a 12-digit code that really nobody has memorized. You have to look at it anytime you want to give it out to somebody. I will be very impressed. Let me know in the comments if you somehow have your friend code memorized, but you can memorize the username pretty easily. So regardless of all those changes, we still need to see happen to really get them on board with what the competition is providing with their online infrastructures. This is a major step in the right direction, as we can now expect Legends Arceus, when it launches at the end of January, to have great online portions of the play. And I am avoiding spoilers, so I actually don't know what the online looks like as far as like where these leaks are telling you that the game uses online. Like, I'm not sure what that all entails, but regardless, there's probably going to be raid battles and stuff like we saw in Sword and Shield, I'm sure. So it's whatever their online infrastructure is, it's running smooth. If we see this for all future Switch games going forward, it's great news. Obviously, Splatoon 3 is going to be a huge one for online multiplayer, so I would be very confident in saying that Nintendo will most likely use this technology there as well. But, you know, when Nintendo Switch Online continues to make missteps, in my opinion, on the expansion pack service, they are at least doing it right with their online infrastructure and online technology when it comes to playing with other users online. So at this point in the video, guys, I want to hear from you on all your personal thoughts and opinions on Nintendo Switch Online, how your personal experience with input delay is, or just lag and really freeze frame pausing and things like that to keep you in sync with other players. Does it take you out of the experience? Or are you somebody who is actually pretty happy with the previous technology overall? And what games do you think we will see continue to use this technology as we go forward? And bonus question, are there any games that you hope get an update to go back and use this newer technology that, you know, really ruined the online play for you today? So I do look forward to hearing from you guys on all things Nintendo Switch Online and all the different stories we talked talked about in today's video in the comments down below, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around these topics. Thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. I do truly appreciate you all sticking around until the end. I do at this point in the video want to invite you all one more time to join Sunbro Nation if you haven't done so already. Do so by subscribing below, hit the like button on your way out if you enjoyed it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. That's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you all have a great day. Sunbro Nation, out.